I'm Maria Elena Giassi, and this is Currents. A big kickoff to World Youth Day in Madrid, with Mass in the iconic Cibeles Square. Plus a powerful experience for the Brooklyn pilgrims.
An amazing, wonderful experience. We all came in there, everyone had their flags from their countries up and waving, and it was a moment of national pride.
And she was at World Youth Day in Sydney 3 years ago. She's back again this year and shares her eyewitness.
We are the future of the church. And from what I've seen in Australia and what I'm sure I'll see again in Madrid, I have no doubt that we're ready for that responsibility.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Matt McClure has the night off. You are all part of the generation of Benedict XVI. Those were the words of Madrid Archbishop Cardinal Antonio Maria Roca Varela to the thousands of young people gathered in Madrid's Cibeles Square for the opening Mass of World Youth Day. 800 bishops, archbishops, and cardinals, and around 8,000 priests celebrated the Mass with the Cardinal, kicking off what is sure to be an exciting week for the pilgrims who've converged on Madrid.
Pour l'Église universelle, pour le pape Benoît XVI, son pasteur suprême, afin que la foi en le Seigneur perdure jusqu'à la fin des temps et que l'Église parcourt sans faillir la course de l'amour au service de ses frères les hommes.
Todos los santos, confirma en la fe y en la caridad a tu iglesia. Espíritu Santo, desciende jóvenes. La JMJ de Madrid ha empezado. De nuevo os digo, bienvenidos todos a Madrid. El Redentor, Santa María, el Almudena, Reina del cielo, Madre de amor, María del Almudena, Reina del cielo, Madre de amor.
Cardinal Roca Varela has also announced that priests hearing confessions at World Youth Day will be able to lift excommunications for people who have taken part in abortions. According to church law, anyone involved in the procurement of an abortion is automatically excommunicated. Under normal circumstances, only the Pope, bishops, and priests who have been given special permission can lift the excommunication. Priests hearing confessions at World Youth Day have been given that permission to deal with those cases through August 22nd. Meanwhile, a chemistry student has been arrested in Madrid on suspicion of planning a gas attack against people protesting the Pope's visit. A police official says the 24-year-old student from Mexico had been making threats on the internet against people planning to protest. It's not clear the man was actually capable of carrying out an attack. Protests were planned over the cost of World Youth Day during a time when Spain is going through tough economic times. Organizers, though, say that the event is being funded mainly with private money, and according to at least one report, at no cost to taxpayers. Spanish officials, meanwhile, estimate World Youth Day will bring $144 million in spending to Spain's economy. Stay tuned. There's more currents ahead. When we return, we'll catch up with the Brooklyn Pilgrims on World Youth Day, Day 1. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Ahead of yesterday's Mass in Madrid's Cibeles Square, the pilgrims from the Diocese of Brooklyn had a taste of home. They attended Holy Hour with the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, who are based here in New York. But the hour had more than just a local flavor. English-speaking pilgrims from across the U.S. and around the world also took part. And although they came from different places, they all had one focus: the Eucharist. Our Antonina Zielinska has more from Madrid.
The air is thick with excitement of the official start of World Youth Day. The Brooklyn Pilgrims experienced enormous grace as they attended a holy hour of Eucharistic adoration.
We're going to be joining the Friars of the Renewal from Bronx, New York originally, who do great work out there working with the poor. Tonight we're going to join them for what they do out in Good Counsel, Our Lady of Good Counsel in the city, which is Catholic Underground.
They have a beautiful holy hour. They'll expose the Blessed Sacrament in the monstrance and have praise and worship. It's just a really worshipful, awesome, beautiful time of prayer and adoring the Lord before Him.
This is why we're here. We're here for the Lord and to open up, to be able to see the presence of God, to be able to see Him face to face. That's all that it's about. And to be here universally, it's just beautiful. So we start off with Jesus.
Of heaven to us below, our foes press on from every side. Your aid supply, your strength bestow.
It was an amazing, wonderful experience. We all came in there, everyone had their flags from their countries up and waving, and it was a moment of national pride, and then that subsided and it turned into one very large community, and something happened and everyone was very moved by the experience, and so was I, and I was very happy to be a part of it.
The Eucharist was on display the whole time, and it was very connecting to God, and it was wonderful.
It was a beautiful thing to have so many English-speaking communities here, Canadians, Australians, Irish folk, Americans from all over other different states who have never met the Friars, who have had no experience of Catholic Underground, many young people who have had no experience of adoring our Lord, especially, to be there present and praising Him.
Great is your faithfulness, O God of Jacob. Wrestle with the sinner's restless heart.
So we're here at the opening Mass of World Youth Day with the Cardinal Archbishop of Madrid, and we're actually not that close to the altar, but that is a positive thing in one sense because there's so many people here to pray.
We're at the first opening Mass and it's so crowded, there's so many people, but it's awesome, it's an awesome experience.
That report from Antonina Zielinska. Also helping out there with the interviews was Father James Caroli of Cathedral Prep in Elmhurst. In other news, a September 11th memorial flag from the Diocese of Brooklyn has arrived in Madrid. The flag, which commemorates the victims of the September 11th attacks, has appeared at every World Youth Day during the past decade. It originally belonged to the family of Suzanne Garrity, a system support worker at Cantor Fitzgerald, who was killed on 9/11. Yesterday, the flag led the Brooklyn delegation to the opening ceremony for English-speaking World Youth Day pilgrims. Stay tuned. There's more currents coming up. Just ahead, World Youth Day is even sweeter the second time around. This Queen's Pilgrim gives us her eyewitness.
The holiness was really palpable there through all of the people who had come together to be with Pope Benedict and to be with each other, to celebrate our faith, to celebrate Jesus Christ and what that means to us today as young people and as the future of the church.
There's no doubt about it. The young people in Madrid for World Youth Day are excited about their faith. We've been given a sense of that from some of the pilgrims from the Diocese of Brooklyn that we've already heard from. More than 600 of them are taking part, the largest delegation of any U.S. diocese. Holy Family Parish in Flushing has sent 24 young men and women. Among them is Stephanie Cipolla, a veteran of World Youth Day. She traveled to Sydney, Australia back in 2008. She shares that experience and what she's most looking forward to this year in Madrid as tonight's eyewitness.
I think unless you've been on a pilgrimage of this sort, you can't really imagine the pilgrimage high that you come back with. We came off the plane like we've never come off any plane before. I attended World Youth Day in Sydney, Australia in 2008. It was an absolutely incredible experience. We had a very large group that went from our parish and from the diocese, but when you got there and saw how many youth were there from around the world, it was awe-inspiring, really. Sydney, Australia was by far the biggest celebration of the Mass that I had ever attended, and I think it was exactly that. It was a celebration of the Mass. We say that here, and it doesn't always mean that, but the excitement and the enthusiasm of everybody going just to dinner, walking around the streets, was absolutely incredible. The holiness was really palpable there through all of the people who had come together to be with Pope Benedict and to be with each other, to celebrate our faith, to celebrate Jesus Christ and what that means to us today as young people and as the future of the church. We had the opportunity to get closer to Pope Benedict than I think any of us expected as we were going to Australia, and it just so happened that we were, I would say I personally was about 15 feet away from the Holy Father, which I was not expecting when you know you're going with 200,000 plus other people. He was such a holy man, and that radiated from him. It's something that I'm not going to forget. We met our parents, and we were thrilled, like we couldn't wait to tell them everything we had done. And for the first few weeks, it's like this incredible, like everything is great, everything's fabulous. I was just on this incredible journey. And then obviously that dies down a little bit as time progresses. But I think what I kept the most was that sense of the global Catholic community and the fact that there are young people around the world who share my faith and who want to spread it actively. 3 years later, I'm going to World Youth Day with a different perspective. Last time, I was getting ready to leave home and leave my home parish and go to college, which is a huge transition, but not nearly as large of a transition as I'm getting ready for now, to leave college and take my place in society as more of an adult. And I have the opportunity now to be more of a leader than I did when I came back as a teenager. We've received an incredible amount of support from our parish. Our pastor told us this past Sunday that we are sending the third largest group from the country to Madrid. And I think that that's something that we as a parish should be extremely proud of, that we have such a large group of young people who are interested enough and want to be active enough in their faith to make the journey to meet the Holy Father. The reality is that very shortly, this generation, the youth that are going to World Youth Day in Madrid in about a month, we are the people who are going to be called on to take over the reins from the older generations, and we are the future of the church. And from what I've seen in Australia and what I'm sure I'll see again in Madrid, I have no doubt that we're ready for that responsibility and that this group of people can do it successfully and joyfully.
That was Stephanie Cipolla from Holy Family in Flushing, sharing some of her infectious enthusiasm. Stay tuned, there's more currents ahead. When we return, it will be a busy few days for Pope Benedict in Spain. We'll find out what's on his agenda. Finally tonight, there's just one day left before Pope Benedict touches down in Madrid. During his general audience today at his summer home, Castel Gandolfo, the Pope asked for people's prayers for his trip. It will be Benedict's third World Youth Day. His first was in his home country of Germany in August of 2005, just months after he was elected Pope. And 3 years ago, he greeted pilgrims in Sydney, Australia. This latest trip will also be Benedict's third visit to Spain since being elected Pope. And as we hear from Rome reports, he has a busy schedule over the next few days.
The Pope will arrive to Madrid's Barajas airport Thursday morning, where he'll be greeted by Spain's royal family. The first official meeting between the Pope and youths will be a welcome party. The Pope will cross the Puerta de Alcalá with 5 young people, one from each continent. The Pope will plant an olive tree, making reference to the theme titled Rooted and Built Up in Christ, Firm in the Faith. On Friday, the 19th, the Pope will visit Spain's royal family at the Palacio de la Zarzuela. Then he'll go to the monastery of El Escorial, which is roughly 30 miles away from Madrid. There, he'll meet with 2,000 young nuns, and once inside the basilica, he'll have a second meeting with 1,200 young university teachers. At the Vatican's embassy, he'll meet with 12 volunteers from World Youth Day. There will be 2 people from every continent and 2 Spaniards. In the afternoon, the Pope will head the Stations of the Cross at the Paseo de los Recoletos. This will be the first time as Pope that he'll be present throughout the Stations of the Cross. On Saturday morning, the Pope will confess 3 youths in a park called Parque del Retiro. 200 confessionals have already been set up for the Festival of Forgiveness. In total, priests will hold confessions in 20 different languages every day. The Pope will then go to the Almudena Cathedral. There, he'll meet with 6,000 seminarians. It's also very common for the Pope to set time aside to visit people taking part in social works. In this case, it will be the Institute of San Jose, which administers the Order of St. John of God. The institution specializes in helping people with physical and mental disabilities. 200 of them will be present during the Pope's visit. But the key moment of World Youth Day will be the vigil taking part in Cuatro Vientos Aerodrome. It will be divided in 3 stages. The first one is the Procession of the Cross and also World Youth Day's icon. In the second stage, the youths will be able to ask questions to the Pope and listen to his response. The third will include time for prayer with the Blessed Sacrament. That aerodrome is the size of about 48 football fields. About 2,000 drinking water installments have already been set up, as well as 4,000 portable toilets. There will be 48 sound towers and more than 20 big screens. Over 1.5 million bags of food will be handed out to pilgrims. It's estimated that roughly 500,000 youths will spend the night at Cuatro Vientos to save a spot for the August 21st Mass, which will start at 9:30 a.m. At the end of the Mass, the Pope will pray the Angelus and announce the city chosen for the next World Youth Day in 2013. And before returning to Rome, he'll meet with the 12,000 volunteers that helped out in World Youth Day. This will be the Pope's 20th international trip. Pope John Paul II visited Spain 5 times.
Be sure to tune in to NET tomorrow, beginning at 6 a.m., as we bring you live coverage of the Pope's arrival in Spain. And tomorrow afternoon, beginning at 1:15, we'll have the ceremony welcoming Benedict to World Youth Day. You won't want to miss it. Before we go, we want to share with you some other local news connected to World Youth Day. Today, as part of the cultural program in Madrid, Out of the Darkness, a locally produced film about the problems of pornography, was screened. But those who could not make it to World Youth Day will have a chance to see it. Out of the Darkness is coming up straight ahead here on the net at 8 o'clock, so stay tuned. For more on World Youth Day, be sure to check out our website, currentsny.net, and be sure to tune in at 7:30 each night this week for a recap of the day's events from Madrid, including exclusive updates on the Brooklyn Pilgrims. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Thank you for watching and have a great night.